We have talked about what the Cowboys need to do from here. Do they have to shore up things on the offensive line? Do they need to go get a playmaker, a wide receiver two for Dak? Should they focus on the defense? Maybe somebody in the secondary to shore up the secondary. What should the Dallas Cowboys do, Spence? And the thing is that the more I think about it, I think the Cowboys need to focus on dynamic players. And I like the name Bijan Robinson of the University of Texas, the Texas Longhorns. Texas is back, baby.
Well, I think we're a little early on draft projections, but since you want to go down this path a little bit because you are all about Texas, and if Texas sneezes, you're there with a handkerchief, waiting for them.
Sometimes.
But you know, do they need some extra support in the running attack? Yes. Question begs. Okay, Deke's not going anywhere. Pollard, I still think they're going to tag him or find a way to make him happy. Okay. I can't see them losing him because he is basically their offense out of the backfield in whatever form or fashion you want to look at. Screen pass over the middle, and he can run between the tackles. At the same time, in draft lore, in draft procedures, unless it's some, you know, the greatest of great running backs in the history of running backs, teams are getting out of the running back world of a top 10, top 15. They're more going towards obviously the quarterbacks, wide receivers, defensive backs, the cornerbacks, if you will. Is there a place for him in the top 10, top 15? I don't know. I can't say right now, but I would find it hard to believe that they're all of a sudden just going to say, that's our guy. We're going to go get him in whatever capacity. And now that's going to take care of our offensive backfield issues. If that's the case, if that's where they're going, then I don't see Pollard being here.
NFL.com released a mock draft this morning saying that Bijan Robinson would go number 21 to the LA Chargers. That's 5 spots ahead of the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are drafted at number 26. Bijan Robinson for UT last season. This is for only one season. Rushed for 1,580 yards, 18 touchdowns, caught 19 passes for 314 yards. Also had a couple of scores. He's a playmaker. And that is just somebody that I think would be interesting for the Cowboys to have there because Pollard's going to want a long-term deal. And he wants to get paid what he's worth. And the fact that
so you say what you're saying, Pollard goes, they're able to draft him or someone like him. Nothing changes with the offense.
Well, I wouldn't want for the Cowboys to spend so much money on Pollard. Not to say that he doesn't deserve it, but you can't have $30 million go to your running backs. You can't do that.
You did with Zeke.
And how'd that work out?
Oh, I'm not saying it worked out, but it doesn't mean that Jerry's not going to do it. You're absolutely right. It has not worked out with Zeke, but if the history is the history, you can't tell me Jerry's not going to make Pollard as rich.
It's kind of hard, man. There's only so much money to go around, and you take a look at Dak Prescott making $40 million a year. You look at Zeke making $16 million next year. Let's say that they offer Pollard $12 million, right? That is $78 million, or actually, let's see, 40 plus 14 or plus 60 plus 12. That is $68 million going towards those 3 players. That's a little much.
Well,
a little much.
I for once in your lifetime, I agree with you. Okay, to the point of you have to decide which direction you're going to do to help improve the offense. If they don't, you either draft for need or for position. Okay, what are they drafting for? Do you think this upcoming draft?
I think they're going to draft. Well, it's kind of hard to say with the Cowboys. The Cowboys, I will say this, man. The Cowboys do draft very well. They do a pretty good job of doing what they need to do when it comes to the draft. They did take a chance on CeeDee Lamb when they were not thinking about getting a wide receiver at that time.
But that was
fell to him.
But it was a huge wide receiver draft that year.
Right, but he fell to them. Micah Parsons fell to them. And I kind of think that the Cowboys really, honestly, have to draft for best available player. And if Bijan Robinson is the best available player on their board, then take that guy.
Well, so you're saying position then?
No, I'm saying best player, irrespective of the position. I mean, I wouldn't draft a quarterback, but if they find if they have a highly rated cornerback out there, take that guy. Highly rated running back, take that guy. Take the best player.
So
They have
then
a lot of
so then
needs.
the other offensive needs you're going to get through the draft in general,
Well,
or free agency, in whatever
I mean, there's a
capacity.
lot of receivers out there. DJ Chark, I mean, Odell Beckham Jr. going to be free agents this year.
Oh, please don't bring up OBJ again.
Oh,
I mean, come on.
he was ready to go, man. He would
Ready
have
to
been
go.
ready
That's
to go.
That's
He was like, regular season, what's that? He wants to do playoff games only. Going back in time, though, the old adage that you don't draft a running back in the first round.
It's not an old adage. What are you
20
talking about?
That's a recent one. 2021, Najee Harris and Travis Etienne were drafted in the first round.
What positions?
All these running backs.
I know, but what position were they drafted?
Towards the end, back into the first round.
Okay, well that's qualified early second.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 2020, one of the last players drafted in the first round there. Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley in 2018.
That is the most recent one. That was what, 4 years ago?
4 years ago. 2017, Leonard Fournette and Christian McCaffrey were taken towards the top of the draft. And in 2016, Cowboys took Zeke Elliott.
Right. Those are the elite of running backs. Not one player personnel guy is going to just start drafting a running back in the top 15 that doesn't cut above the rest. You could have a conversation of the McCaffreys of the world or the Zekes of the world, based on those predicament or those particulars during that year. Do you think that a running back is available right now that cuts into the top 15 that you should be able to get tomorrow?
Well, the Cowboys have a lot of needs, so they're going to get a lot of help wherever they get it from. If they have a need for cornerback and they get a cornerback in the first round, it's going to be an immediate help. We've seen this. We saw this with Tariq Woolen from UTSA, got drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. You can be a rookie and contribute to the secondary. Spencer Burford got signed by out of UTSA from the 49ers, and he's their starting right guard. You can actually plug and play a lot of rookies. The Cowboys had Tyler Smith last season.
We're talking fourth, fifth rounders. Okay, we're not talking if you draft first round, they're starting.
They have to.
Well, they don't have to, but they usually do. Okay, so if you're drafting a running back for a starting position,
then he's your starter.
He's your starter.
Yeah.
Right. Do you think there's a starting running back that's going to make the difference, whether it's running for the 5 years or whatever? Do you think there's that running back's going to take this team from a divisional out to the NFC Championship game next year?
I think the problem or the area here where we're not understanding each other is that I'm looking at it from the standpoint of you're looking at it from the standpoint of talent. I'm looking at it from the standpoint of team management. Is Bijan Robinson, his rookie season, going to be better than Zeke Elliott or Tony Pollard if he was on the Cowboys team? No.
Dude, if you're drafting him in the first round, he better run for 1,000 yards.
Well, 1,000 yards is not much anymore. It's 17 games. But here's the thing. What I'm trying to say is that relative to the amount of money that he'd be making, it's a good trade-off. It's the question, would you rather have Bijan at $5 million, for example, or would you rather have Tony Pollard at 15? That is where I'm coming at it. It's not so much the aspect of, well, Pollard's better. Well, no crap, he's better. Pollard has experience and Pollard is still young, but I'm looking at it from the perspective of salary cap, and there's only so much money to go around.
And if that's the case, why would you put that kind of heavy money into drafting a running back who could be hurt the first play? And most running backs don't last the test of time. If Zeke is any example, if they knew now what they had before, would they have given him the money?
Oh, no way.
Right. So that's why they don't do it moving forward.
But that whole argument could be made about the quarterback position. You can make that argument. What if they get hurt? You can make the what if they get hurt conversation with anybody. You can't think about it that way.
Different than running back, dude. Quarterback's different running back. I mean, when the Broncos drafted Tim Tebow, there was a complete meltdown of every Bronco fan and media person in the history of the draft, because that was based upon just some fictitious goal of we're going to find someone that's going to come in and make the difference. There's no guarantee that any running back is going to come in and make the difference for an offensive juggernaut team. You stop the run. It's not like McCaffrey. Okay. It's not like Zeke, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever it was. Okay. Those are different examples of where a running back can help you immediately. If he can't help you immediately, don't draft in the first round.
Bijan Robinson would help
How do
immediately.
you know that?
How do you know that he wouldn't?
I can't say they wouldn't. You can't say that he would.
This is very Joe Reinagle of you. Of course, somebody can be plugged and played and actually produce in year one. Just because they're a rookie doesn't mean that they're not going to be any good. Saquon Barkley was good his first year.
Oh, you're
Zeke Elliott was good his first
Barkley
year.
is at a different elite level. Okay.
Bijan's considered to be a top 10 prospect for a lot of rating groups.
I thought we just talked about top 15. We're up to top 10 now.
Yeah. Top 10, top 15 talent.
Going to be top 5.
But that doesn't mean that he's going to go top 10 or top 15 in the draft. Just because there's a premium placed on offensive linemen, there's a premium placed on defensive ends, and a premium placed on quarterbacks. Not always the case. Taking a look right now at The Athletic, they're ranking the top prospects in the draft this year. Number 8, they have Bijan Robinson, saying that he's comparable to Zeke Elliott when Zeke Elliott came out of Ohio State. Again, that is a good player, man. That is a very, very good player. And if the Cowboys got him at 26, if the Cowboys moved up to get him at 15,
so
Cowboy fans should be excited.
So that's the difference maker. That's what you're saying. That's going to take the team to the next level based on that draft alone.
Could be.
Dak
needs weapons. Dak needs more than just one weapon, man. Dak needs several things there.
You are literally putting all the so-called chips on the table. You're all in on a running back that's going to make or break, move this team to the next level. My point is, you can't. If that's where you're going, you'll be
to UT.
See, that's what it is. That's the only reason you really like him is when he went to UT.
Yeah. He would be so popular with the Cowboys.
He
would be so popular.
And if he went to UTSA because you graduated from UTSA, he would be in here, every 5 seconds of conversation. Oh, the greatest running back in the history. I'm not saying he's not good. He's probably great. But are you willing to roll the bones and put your career as the player personnel director of the Dallas Cowboys and say, this is it? Because if it doesn't turn out to be, and running backs are iffy, you've just compromised the future even further than we are right now.
I don't buy that. If the Cowboys stayed pat at 26 and Bijan Robinson is right there and he's ranked in their big board as the 8th or 10th or 12th best player in the draft and they get him,
what if there's
they got him as a steal?
What if there's defensive end? What if there's a number 2 receiver? There's plenty of receivers coming out this year.
Right.
That's a 1A. And now you've put even more weapon potential in Dak's tool.
Well, when you're talking about receivers, though, there's not as dramatic of a drop off sometimes when it comes to receivers as there are when it comes to running backs. Receiver talent is receiver talent. There's a little bit more of them out there that are elite as opposed to running backs. But we're going till 3:00. Jimenez and Spence on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. When we come back, we're talking about the Cowboys game. What do they do from here? We're going to hear from Dak Prescott as well because Dak Prescott is disappointed with the team's performance, the offense's performance yesterday. This is Jimenez and Spence, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.